All right. I need your help here. Okay.
Okay.
When you think about like the best defensive guards, not just the good ones, not the cool ones, but like the best ones, whether you've coached them, whether you've played against them, or you matched up against them, what's the thing that separates them from everybody else?
Attitude,
Mm.
attitude, and confidence for sure. To me, the best defenders I've ever gone against or just have watched or even coached, they just have this I don't care attitude. And that's the type of defender you have to be when you out there guarding anybody. So that's probably it. Attitude for sure.
So you had to have that attitude knowing how you were. You were getting busy yourself, so
What's funny is I didn't always have it though. My mom growing up, I was very shy and timid all up until sophomore year in college, and I don't even know where it came from, but my mom used to say, "You ain't got no attitude. If I had your skill with my attitude, I would have went places." But I just didn't have it. And then I picked it up my sophomore year, and that's when I kind of figured like you just can't care about nobody.
mm.
That's
So
it.
what do you think clicked for you? Like in that sophomore year for you to be like, all right, I'm taking that next step, the next level with my attitude. What do you think kind of happened and clicked for you?
Probably I had to transfer. At that point in time, I didn't even know what a junior college was. They were like, "You have to go JUCO." And I was like, "What is what is JUCO? I've never heard of it." So when they told me, I was like, "Oh, okay." Because at that time, I had other D1 schools that was looking at me, but they had already completed their roster. They were the ones telling me, "Hey, you gotta go JUCO if you don't want to sit out a year. And if we did have a scholarship, you'd have to sit out a year anyway." So I was like, "Okay, well, let's go JUCO." Well, then Coach Green, I guess, put me in contact with some JUCOs around. I went on a couple visits, and as soon as I chose one, which was Trinity Valley, something about the air in the gym, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was my teammates around me and learning their personalities and they rubbed off on me because that's when I started cussing too. So I never cussed. I didn't do any of that, but I don't know. Something about that JUCO air just fueled me, and I just became a person I didn't even recognize, but it was for the better.
Man, my cousin played JUCO and he was like, everybody ain't built for JUCO. Like you gotta
Mm-mm.
be a dog for JUCO. Like everybody think JUCO kind of sweet. It's like, oh, I can go to JUCO. I just, it's like JV
Mm-hmm.
almost mentality. But nah, it's you
JUCO
say
is different. It's
yeah,
different. It was different back then. I don't know how it is now, but back then it was fun. You had to get literally everything out of the mud.
yeah.
We had a really good coaching staff that made sure that we had everything that we needed and always had the freshest Air Force Ones on. I've never been on a team where or the head coach is ordering us Air Force Ones as a travel shoe. So that just kind of fueled us in a different way too.
You ain't had a black Air Force Ones, did you?
No, we had the crispy whites.
I was gonna say, no
Now, if
wonder you had
she
a
woulda
dog
got
in you
us
then.
black, oh, now we was already bad. She called us the baby kids. Now, if she woulda got us black, I don't know what she woulda been calling us then.
Oh man, you can't be
We
having the
probably
black
shoulda
ones,
had
man.
black, though. We probably shoulda.
I probably been fighting every game then with the black ones on. That's crazy.
But the thing is, we played like we had black Air Force Ones. We did have a fight, though, and we only had 4 people to finish that game. We had a little West Virginia moment.
Oh man. But I think JUCO probably did set you up to have that. Cause the way it's just built, it's framed, it's like you either gonna fight or have your lunch taken, basically.
That's
So
it, cause that's your last chance, for real, to get out there and do something, especially if you want a scholarship to get to the next level. That's you either get 1 year, 2 years, and for me, a lot of us on that team only had 1, so it was pretty much win, be together, and get better as much as possible.
mm, yeah, I think that's the going back to you were saying about the attitude, I think that's the key
Mm,
piece of a defender
mhm.
because if like you go out there getting scored on and you thinking, "Oh, I'm just terrible and your confidence dropping, it's like you just not built for it then because you're gonna have them nights. You can be doing everything perfect. You can be playing the best
Mhm.
defense of your life, but you're guarding Steph Curry, and he's gonna get 40 in
Mhm.
his sleep. So it's
Right.
just tough for you to think you're gonna come out there with the poor attitude and still defend well. So
Exactly.
so were you not a defender before that point, like high school and stuff? Or did you finally become a defender at that point?
I was a defender, but I wasn't too much of a defender like I was when I got to college. My freshman year at Grambling, Coach Green was big on his defense. And he just taught me the aggression part of it. And he taught me a little bit of the not caring for sure. And then you had Elaine Powell, who was a 3-time world champion with the Detroit Shock as the starting point guard. So you get her with her I don't care attitude and how she
Yeah.
so nonchalantly moves throughout the game and don't care about nobody except her team. So you get those two mindsets together and then they instill it in you. You have no choice but to be somewhat of a dog out there and embrace that. So that's really where it came from.
What did he teach you in terms of, like you were saying, the aggression?
So it's like little things that I pay attention to now because of him. Just angles and stuff of the opposing person that you're guarding. There was like this little thing that I pay attention to a lot. He wasn't big on like paying attention to the belly button and all that stuff. You know how people say, watch their feet or watch their belly button. No, it was just, man, get up in them and wherever that ball go, you go. Wherever their feet go, you go. So that was like how he talked to us. He talked to us like he was our dad and like, man, you bet not. She bet not beat you. So it's like
Yeah.
that part of the defense. It wasn't even really about technique. It was just what he's saying to you, barking at you and all those things. And it just forced you to just be out there without fouling, of course.
mm. Now that's funny because I think we get too, on one hand, I think defense gets dumbed down too much.
Hmm.
But then I think on the other hand, it gets a little too technical with stuff, and it doesn't feel real because you don't have
Hmm.
time to sit here and make all these different breakdown reasons. Like the stuff they tell you to, oh, watch this. It's like by the time you're looking at that and you trying to react to it, they already made their move and they're gone. So I think we're gonna get into it later, but I think we kind of went too far left one way. We talk about defense, and too far right the other. We talking about defense. So was that like the biggest lesson you kind of learned of just like don't think about it too much, just be aggressive and go?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. It wasn't about like, yeah, they're gonna teach you the techniques and stuff, but, kinda goes back to Coach Schaefer and his technique in teaching. How he does it is he teaches you the why and the why not, why this is gonna work and why this won't work if you do it this way. And, just feeding off of Coach Green and then Coach, Schaefer teaches you that technique while also having that I don't care mindset as well. Like, no, can't nobody beat you defensively. You
Yeah.
kinda learn his technique and his mindset as well, so that technique was never too far left or too far right, it was just right there, and you just had to do it, and it worked, so you just
Mm,
believed in it, and that's just how we roll.
mm. So besides having a good attitude, what else makes a great defensive guard? Like, what are other key pieces that, in your mind, think of great defensive guards? They all have this thing.
Tenacity, um, tenacity and stamina. The best defenders I've ever seen don't ever really truly show that they tired. Like they want to keep going at you. They really do. They get this adrenaline rush of I love that you got the ball and you can't do nothing with it. Or even when you don't have the ball and I'm just in your head so much that you don't even know to play anymore. So just that tenacity and that stamina of just being out there and not want to be out the game is probably another key part about being a really good defender.
Yeah, I think the stamina is a underrated thing. You don't talk about
Mhm.
enough
Mhm.
because if you they talk about it in terms of like, oh, James Harden not going to play defense because he gets so much on offense. They don't take away from it on defense.
Mhm.
But I don't think you talk about it in terms of like the Drew Holidays who are out there who can go 94 feet and bang in the post. And it's like, that's not just physical strength. That's also capacity to have that cardio built up of not being tired. And
Right.
I think you gotta live in the gym and live a real workout life to be in shape to be a great defender, especially as a guard. So
Mhm.
I love you brought that up. That's a very key piece. Um,
Yes. Stamina is different. It also goes in line with your discipline too. Um, I just text Coach Schaefer a few days ago, and I was just sitting in my office thinking about how disciplined I had become in life, just in general, based on like his standards in our practices and how he ran his program, just the culture of just being disciplined. And a lot of people would say, what's your motivation and all those things. And he doesn't know this, but he's a big reason why I stopped believing in the motivating piece of just life, period. But just in that defensive part, they would be like, "What motivates you?" And I'm like, "Nothing really motivates me. It's just the discipline I have that's in me, and just that stamina and that discipline piece is just what's getting me where I am."
mm, so when did defense kind of become your thing? Like you knew you were a lockdown guard at that point. Was it with Vic or was it Juco?
It was It was kinda it started in JUCO because I was guarding 1 through the 5. I was guarding all over the place, so and I wasn't scared of nobody, so it was just like, "Okay." But then when I truly, like, figured out my role when I got to Mississippi State, because I was a jack of all trades in JUCO, but when I got to Mississippi State, I couldn't be that person, so it was a bigger stage, the culture is different, and I just have to embody my role and my piece on the team, and I found out that was defense, and I went with it.
That's interesting because you did a little bit of everything. Like you said, jack of all trades. So in high school, you were a killer. You were 4-star recruit by ESPN, in line to be a McDonald's All American. But yeah, a lot of buckets and stuff too. See you at Grambling, like JUCO, all that stuff. So I think you have a very good standpoint to talk about this. You coach different levels, seen a lot of stuff. So if you're starting from scratch to build your own defensive guard, like you starting from scratch, let's say like a fifth grade girl, you build her to be a defensive guard. What's the first thing you're looking at? Are you trying to get her the discipline and the dog in her? Are you trying to teach her just the want to, the mindset, the body? Where you kind of starting out first?
The discipline. The discipline first. I think once you teach the discipline of it all, everything else will fall in line. Because once you get somebody to be disciplined and structured with what you want out of them, you can get anything out of them. Anything. Um, and I say that because, of course, everything's gonna go back to Coach Schaefer, but he built that discipline in me to the point where I'll never forget it. We were playing Ole Miss, and I was on the ball, and the whole game plan was we weren't gonna I wasn't gonna pressure as much. Any ball screens that she was gonna come off of, I was to go underneath, but we were still gonna hard hedge it. Um, we got into overtime, and I'm backpedaling. We're on defense, and he looks at me. He's like, "Savannah," and I was like, "Huh?" This is all happening in the game, and she's dribbling the ball up. Get in her, and I was like, now? He's like, she can't beat you. So it's just the minute he said that, it was like, you right. You right. She can't beat me. Because all the discipline that he's instilled in me just made me want to just do whatever I needed to do, regardless of technique, regardless of anything. It was just that discipline aspect. Go out there and just do it. And that's really
Mm.
what I would say is discipline first for sure.
So you think the discipline is like the key mental skill
Mhm.
that can separate the good ones to the great ones?
Discipline helps with commitment. I mean, sometimes when you commit to certain things, you probably don't have the discipline to do it. Um, but commitment to me is you're gonna stick to it regardless of how you feeling, which kind of falls in line with discipline. There's times where I don't want to get up and do anything throughout the day, or I don't want to go down and shoot. I don't want to pay my bill, but the discipline to go ahead and do it, I got to. That's where I always say, like, discipline can take you further than motivation can, because I know a lot of motivated people that should be out here making hundreds of millions of dollars. But They weren't disciplined to just get in the gym or get on the field or get wherever they needed to do to just get stuff done, regardless of how they feeling. And I think discipline is all about sacrifice and less emotion.
Hmm. So how would you build that discipline up?
I would have to be the example every day to show it to other people, or just anybody that's around you every day and that's learning from you. They typically will start taking on your personality and how you go about things. So to show up and be that example every single day, I can't just be the word. I also got to show the word too. So I think that's where it's key and where it starts.
So that means you got to get up and do your workout. Like you said, pay your bills, all the stuff you
Hmm.
don't want to do. So it's showing her like, hey, I'm not just telling you to do X, Y, and Z because it's cute. Like it's
Mm.
building that up into her.
That was the big reason why I practiced at Auburn. I have found like this little niche in coaching. A lot of these kids nowadays want to see you do it. Like you telling me that you can't do it. So, okay, I'm finna show you.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would practice literally every single day at Auburn for however long we was going with no sub. Every single day. No sub.
Dang, I respect that because I'm
Thank
not
you.
doing it.
I did. It was like my one little thing that I found in coaching that I just embodied. And I was just like, dang, I'm really out here coaching and playing with them. Although, they would talk a little mess to me and I'm talking a little bit back to them, but they loved it. I loved it as long as like we're having fun with it and it's teaching you something, then I'm good with
Yeah, you better than me. I'm not in shape for
it.
that. My skills are trash right now. Like I'll hop in a little bit with the players and like do smaller stuff here and there, but
Hmm.
full practice, no, I'm getting cooked. Like I'm terrible right now. So
Listen, you'll get in shape
kudos.
the more you do it.
I ain't got no option but to if if I'm trying to do it.
You right.
Oh man, but nah, I think that's a beautiful piece because a lot of times, whether it's a coach, whether it's as a trainer, parents, whatever, it's easy to be like, do this because I said so, because you hold a spot of authority. So it's kind of like I kind of have to do what you say, but I ain't fully bought in. But when you see your coach doing X, Y, and Z, it's like, oh, okay, they're living some level of what they're saying. So that's a key piece, and I think that's a good foundation to start off with, especially talking about building the mindset up. So after you built the discipline up, what's like the next two or three things that you like got to lock in with this in the mindset?
But definitely that skill and technique piece. Once you got the discipline up, now they bought in. So now they gonna pretty much believe everything you saying at that point. You just gotta show them why to believe in it, why it's working, why it works this way for us in this program, or just for you to be an elite defender. So that's when you start teaching that skill and that technique of it, showing them the why and the why nots, and go from there.
Mm, okay, let's get into the skill part now.
Hmm.
A lot of times you hear coaches say defense is just effort and want to.
Hmm.
Like it gets boiled down to that's all defense is. But like you said, there's skill to it. What are some of the skills of being a great defender?
Knowing your footwork for sure.
Okay.
I think that's a big one. Um, that's really it, your angles and your footwork. And you gotta know who you're going against. Like once you pick up on people's tendencies and you got that scout report and you study them as well as you need to, you'll know how to go out there and defend a person. Most times they're gonna tell you what they're gonna do, because you're already in their head a little bit. But just that footwork piece of it. A lot of people believe in sliding, a lot of people believe in running. And you can teach both and they both work somehow, some way. But me, I just come from a different mindset of I don't know how you can be defending somebody that's running while sliding. I don't get that part. But people believe in it and it works. So it's really just about whatever you're gonna teach and go from there. I'm gonna teach turn and run because that's just easier. But I think it just really depends on the type of person and what they believe in to teach that technique and skill part of it. But for me, it's depth to footwork and angles of everything.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because been around a lot of different coaches, camps, all that
Mm,
stuff, and they drilling in, get in a specific defensive position. You sit down, and it's the step slide, and it's like,
mhm.
okay, that's cool. But when you're in the game, you see them turn the hips and run. You're not telling that it's wrong,
Right.
but it's like, oh, you can't cross your feet, you can't do this, and you can't do that. You're supposed to step slide, and it's like, bro, we
Mhm.
don't have time to do all that, man. This dude is
Right.
running at me full speed. You expect me to step and slide?
Right.
I
And
don't
that's just
know.
wild to me. Somebody's coming at
Yeah,
me full force, and I'm supposed to just step to the right or step to the left and stop them? Unless I'm taking a charge. Okay, then I got you. But no.
yeah. I don't know where they stop thinking. And it's like, oh, we're just gonna step slide all the time. It's like, no, bro, we can't sit here and just step slide. Like you might at best get 4 slides. At best.
Right. There's times where you gonna have to slide a little bit, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But to slide the whole time? No. Especially in the open court. Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Now, when you get like a baseline drive or something, you may be sliding a little bit, but even then, if you turn and run and get in front, you may not have to slide as much, but I just personally don't believe in it.
Yeah, I'm with you. So key piece, footwork.
Mhm.
But I think that goes hand in hand with angles. Because if you're trying to force some baseline, falling to the big, whatever, giving up no middle, I can't just step slide the entire time and think I'm gonna get that angle how I need to. I have to be in position to kind of force them that way versus hoping my step slide can kind of guide them there. So you're building up their footwork. What do you is it just talking them through the step slides and turn your hips and run, or is there more to it than that?
It's more to it. For me, it is because I love teaching. And, a lot of coaches sometimes lose that art of just teaching the game. And I understand it, with the portal, you got to teach every year because you may not have a team one year and you got to bring in a whole new roster. So I completely understand, not teaching as much and trying to find something that fits your program that's a little more easier due to that. But it's a lot more to it. You got to explain why you want the top foot above, why you don't want the top foot above, why you have to be at this angle and not just standing straight up or giving them a straight line to the basket. Although you still have top foot above, you don't want to open up too far. You want your bottom foot at least at an angle where they can't just go that way. So it's a lot.
Yeah, when you start getting like the very detailed stuff, like I think it probably kicks in for real. Depending on the level of high school you playing, it can start kicking in there. But for sure
Hmm.
when you get to college, because you got a
Yeah,
girl who can go off for 30 every game, and it's like, hey, effort ain't finna get you to stop her from scoring 30. You can sit there and run your head off all you want to, but when she cooking you with the same 2, 3 moves and you wondering what's going on, I don't care how hard you trying, she's still finna keep cooking you because you don't have anything besides hustle and effort. So that's when the
exactly.
technique comes in.
You gotta have your technique. I learned real quick in college that, in high school, they're like, turn to left, turn to left, turn to right, turn to right. And like you will visibly see like people turning somebody left or right. But when I got to college, it was more about shading. You want to shade them a certain way without exposing that you're shading.
Explain the difference between that.
So in high school, you would just turn your body. So if I'm a right-handed driver and they want to force me left, they would just sit on my right hand, turn their whole body, chest probably to the sideline at this point, want me to go left. So I can't do anything right. But in college, it was more so you still square, you still chest to chest. However, you are splitting their dominant hand, if that makes sense. So my chest would be splitting your right hand if I wanted you to go left, but I'm still chest to chest with you. And it still looks like I'm playing straight up defense with you, but I'm really kind of shaded just a little bit without turning my body. I'm chest to chest sitting on your right hand, whether you dribbling with that hand or not. I'm just sitting right there wanting you to go left a little bit. And
Yeah.
it's a big difference because it's like you still playing face to face, chest to chest, but you're really not. You want them to go that way, but you also don't want to get beat too bad. Whereas if you in high school or wherever and they completely turn sideways, making people still get beat. I used to hate that.
Yeah, it's small little details like that that make a big difference.
And I didn't
Yeah.
realize that till college, so I'm grateful for that.
So what did you learn at each level? So when you went to Grambling, you learned these few things. Like from high school to Grambling, you learned this. From Grambling to JUCO, you learned this. From JUCO to Mississippi State with Vic, what are a few things you learned at each lesson around the way?
Um, Lessons in general or just about defense?
Let's do both. So about defense and kind of just, life lessons or what you learn about yourself.
So high school to Grambling, I learned a lot about myself. I learned I really am shy. I really am timid. I really am kind of boring. I don't go out. I don't do anything. Um, I learned that there was a much more fun side to me that I didn't really know because in high school it was about my academics, it was about basketball, and it was about family. And my mom kind of like told me about myself one day, was like, "You don't care about nothing. You don't care about nobody else. If it ain't your family or anything, somebody could be telling me something, and I was just like, oh, okay." But somebody's grandma would have died, and I would just be like, oh, okay. I mean, because I was just so locked in with what I had going on. And I missed like kind of fun experience that high school students go do. So I didn't really have that, or I didn't want to, honestly. So I learned that about myself in college that dang, I really am not as experienced as everybody else is around me, especially being at a HBCU. I hear like people talking about they used to sneak out when they was in high school and steal their mama car and all those things. Now I wouldn't have done that. But
Yeah.
just the fact that they experienced those things and I didn't, I was just like, dang, I am not experienced as I thought I was coming into college. But defensively, I learned that aggression part. I learned how to not even defensively anymore. The aggression part is what I learned, but just to be a really good teammate and take constructive criticism. I had teammates that wanted to win. And I'm a freshman and I don't really know the will it takes at this point to win on this level. So I'm kind of learning through their attitudes and how they approach the day, how they approach practices and things like that. So Tanisha Mack, we called her T Mac. She taught me a lot. She would be on my tail a little bit to the point where I told on her to Coach Green. Sorry, T Mac, if you see this, but I learned a lot from her. I really did. She kept me accountable as a point guard, as a freshman point guard, and still to this day, I love and cherish her for that because I probably wouldn't have went into my sophomore year without that criticism that she gave me. And it was taken personal back then, but now that I'm older and see everything a little bit better and I'm a coach, I understand where she was coming from. And then when I left there, it was a sad situation. I really wanted to play for that coaching staff and I really believed in what they were going for because I didn't commit to any other school and I had the commitment of where I wanted to go. But I changed that the minute I hit that campus. So to leave there and under the circumstances that we had to was I didn't like that, so I think that's really what fueled me, and then when I had to go to a JUCO, um, that just that just changed me completely, and being around those girls, Crystal, Lante, Rodrika, Shannon, all of them, they came with different pizzazz, like, they just came with different personalities, but everybody had one thing in common, and that was we finna win. Everybody just had this one attitude, so I had to embody that attitude with them, and that was like a big lesson I learned was, okay, I see what my mama talked about. I don't have no attitude, but everybody else around me does, so let me try it, and once I tried it, I have not looked back since. So that was like a big lesson I learned personally and defensively. That's where you just couldn't care about nothing. I mean, you JUCO. Your life is on the line pretty much. So that's where that came from. And then I got to Mississippi State, SEC. I'm learning how big the SEC is at this point. You know, you see it on TV, you watch Candace Parker and all them, you see them playing in this league, and you're finally in it. And you know, they call this the WNBA of college. So having to embody all that with the coaches because they had just came off pretty much at that point 2 years after their national championship at A&M. And so just coming in with that championship mindset and them picking me, they picked me to come here and I chose them to do it with, and just learning technique and changing a mindset. Although I had a mindset change with attitude and body language and all those things, but coming to the SEC and being under Coach Schaefer, Coach Brittany, Coach Aqua, Coach Harris at that time was just like a big mindset changer for me defensively, personally. That's where the discipline started coming in.
Mm. Can you talk about what happened at Grambling?
Yes. Funny story is we had me and my roommate Sierra had this room phone that nobody really called besides our parents. And we got a call on it. I was like, who's calling us? And I answered it and it was Noel, our video coordinator. And he was like, hey, we need y'all to come to the office. And I think this was like in April. It was in April or May of 2011 or 2012. And we were like, okay, we'll be down there. So I hung up and I was like, that was Noel. They want us to come to the office. By this time, our other teammate has come to our dorm room, Dayla. And we all joked. We was like, what if they gonna say they got fired? But we were legit joking. Like right after we said that, like it didn't even cross our mind at that point. So we get down there because the the gym was like half a mile away. So we get down there, we go in the doors where the offices are, and I noticed their name tags are gone. So I joked and said, oh, y'all about to remodel. I love this. Like, yes, y'all need to remodel. It looks too new in here. Let's make it warm. Nobody was really laughing, but they were smiling. So we go in the conference room and Coach Rogers is sitting at the end of the table. And she's like, I said, Coach, y'all finna remodel? Y'all need to, because it is pretty boring in here. And she goes, well, Savannah, that's what we're going to talk about. I said, oh, so y'all want us to help y'all? I'm thinking we're finna help them remodel. Even like the locker room, they want our opinion. So I kid you not, the lady tells us that administration had let them go. And I was like, no. We were so distraught. We were crying. I'm talking about slob, snot everywhere. They were like, "You guys can call your parents." They had already told our parents before they told us, which I'm glad they did because my mom probably would have had a fit if I was crying, calling her, telling her what happened. So I was glad
Yeah.
that they did that, and it was a very sad situation because I had no intentions of ever leaving.
Mm. Dang, that's kind of messed up.
It isn't because we had just signed another ESPN recruit. I think her name was Alexis. She ended up playing with Coach Green at Texas Southern. She was really good. She could dunk and everything. We were gonna have a really good class come in. So the fact that the administration did that at that time was just like, why? It didn't make sense.
Dang. Ended up working out for your good though. Like,
It did. I
see
guess
how everything
everything
turned
does
out for
happen
you.
for a reason.
Yeah. Then you went on to, like you said, lessons you learned at Juco might not have happened. And then you might
Right.
not have ended up at Mississippi State with it.
Exactly. I probably wouldn't be where I am right now.
You feel me?
It's
So
crazy how you can make one little decision and your life could be in a completely different direction from where it is now. That's what's so crazy.
what do you think you would be doing if you stayed at Grambling and went that route?
Probably would still be trying to stay at Grambling. Or I'd probably be a little bit deeper in HBCU life. I probably would because I loved it. I mean, I committed while I was getting on campus. They didn't know that. But the minute we hit the exit, because I didn't want to go. I was really going for my mom because they made my mom cry and all those things. And it was a very late situation. Like I had already decided where I was going and they wanted me to go. Plus the coaches coached my godparents. So I did it out of respect for them. And then I just loved the pictures that they were giving. Like they were speaking some really good stuff. But the visit honestly was just really for my mom and for her to see everything. And it was to give me a chance to see a different side of life as well. But the minute we hit that exit, child, it was a wrap. I just saw cars. I saw nothing but black people walking. I saw cooking. I saw all this. I came through a homecoming. So the minute we hit that exit and passed that gas station, I looked at my mom. I said, I'm coming here. Don't tell nobody. That was it for me.
So what other schools were you looking at going to?
At Tennessee, that was really pretty much it. I really
Mm,
wanted to go there. I had went to camp there one year, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I went back the following year, and that's really where I wanted to go. That was like my dream school. There was like nobody else in the picture at that time. But yeah, that's really where I wanted to go.
mm. Was Pat still there?
Yes, that was also at the time that she had just got diagnosed. Yeah. That's right around the time she got diagnosed. And then I think maybe a year or two later, Worley started standing up and coaching when Pat would sit on the bench. And then a year later after that, Coach Holly was the main coach and Pat was not on the bench. He was more so in the stands at that time.
Mm. That's crazy. You gave him a chance to be under the legendary Pat Summitt.
Yeah, that death still like makes me sad still to this day. My mom just brought it up a few weeks ago. Um, During that time, she and my grandmother had like an hour-long conversation about farm life and how they grew up as these farm girls, and my little brother's walking around her office with no shoes or socks on. She's picking him up, and he's sitting in her lap. Yeah, that death just really gets me, and then her assistant, Deidre Charles Furlow, who passed away, not too long ago. Um, that staff, they were really good to my family, and just to see those 2 women not be here anymore really still makes me sad. I still grieve those losses a little bit.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Because for her to be a legend, not just women's sports, but sports overall, like one of the most winningest coaches in basketball history, her being a part of the rivalry with UConn and making that be such a thing during that time, it's like for her to be gone now is like, you're missing a pillar of the game, you know.
Sure do. A
So
lot of
for
these kids don't know past Summit,
they
which
don't.
is crazy.
Like I don't know how far the game would be without her. Like to see where the women's game is at now and to not see her get the fruits of this labor she put in for how many years it was, kind of like, dang, man, like her and Gino going back and forth head to head all those years. And it's like, damn, we wish you could see her, getting these flowers now. But like, yes, Tennessee, Pat Summitt, like, do your thing. So,
Yeah,
man,
I agree. I really agree. It's sad that she's not on the sidelines anymore. But we done lost the big four pretty much. The only one left is Gino because
yeah,
Tara has retired. Neil Fortner has retired. So all we got left is Gino.
mm. So do you plan to be a head coach at some point?
You know, I did it when I was 23 years old and I was young and trying to figure things out. If I had to do it again, I know what it takes to be one. Um, but I would love to be one at some point, just it's not in my future right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not
No, I
right
feel
now.
it's a lot, man.
Prayers
It's
to all head coaches.
Man, they need prayers, therapy, a masseuse. They deal with a lot, especially with the transfer portal now.
Yeah, I hate it for them because they get criticized the most.
Yeah,
So I'm just not in that position to be. criticize right now because I got some things to say back.
But let's say you were the head coach, you know,
Mhm,
you're starting your recruiting, like you starting fresh.
mhm.
Of course, you're looking at defense first. What are some of the things you're looking at to build your foundation off of? Like you're looking at some guards. Let's keep with guards right now. It's like, okay, what are the key things that can get some girls recruited and the things that can hurt them from being at your, let's say you're D1. Let's keep it D1 since you've been pretty much D1. What are the core things that you got to have to be the defensive guard at a D1 level?
To communication, tenacity, uh, stamina for sure, um, and discipline. Just things I've been talking about. Those are like the core things you gotta have. Um, and it's just a belief in what you're doing, just a confidence. Like we oughta know that when you walking out on the court, we should be looking at you like, oh, she finna go to work.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that type of confidence is just oozing off you.
Okay, communication was the new piece.
Hmm.
What about communication? What are you saying? Because a lot of coaches say, "Oh, you got to communicate," but what does communication actually mean?
To me, you gotta communicate with intent. A lot of kids think just because they just rumble in their mouth that they're communicating effectively. And to me, to be a really good defender, you got to know what's going to happen before it even happens. So to be able to communicate ahead of time to your teammates and know what's happening in the opposing team's offense and knowing how to stop it and just regurgitating scout schemes that we've talked about. That's what I mean by communication. You got to know, like, even if there's like a breakdown and it's a dead ball situation and you get into the team huddle and you listen to whoever is the lead person that you got to listen to as a defender or as that lead defender, you got to be able to speak up and say something and get on to people. But you got to be able to do it effectively and intentionally as well. Some people just be thinking they barking at people and that's what's going that helps. Like, nah, you got to say what you mean about what you're talking about and tell them what they need to do because you can't just be like, "Why you?" Okay, but what do you need me to do?
Yeah, yeah,
So that type of communication.
yeah. I think that goes into like the skill piece of having high IQ
Mhm.
because that goes like to anticipate. That could be a separate skill, but let's throw it together. It's like you got to put that as a key piece because if this girl hitting you with a left or right cross the entire game and you don't
Right.
do anything to counter it, it's kind of looking bad. So you got to at least jump to him like, oh no, she's about to do this. So you get into the bag now of she about to do this left or right cross. Let me jump on it or at least poke at it to where she got to think about it now. So
Mhm.
if you can't, own the ball at least, anticipate their moves, predict what they're going to do, the tendencies or whatnot, but then off the ball, like you said, communicate what the play is going to be, breakdowns or whatnot, you really hurt your team at that point. So
Sure are.
you got to build up that IQ, the anticipation. That's another skill that we can lump in, especially for the guards. But
Mhm.
um, talk about like on ball versus off ball, like the differences that guards should have when you're looking at defending on the ball versus defending off the ball.
On ball is just more to me. I love being on ball because I just honestly felt like people couldn't beat me, although some people would, and I'll just not care about it the next time. Like, you ain't gonna beat me again. But on ball wise, you just gotta be that person that is so aggressive and following the scout to the T to the point where the four people behind you are matching the energy that you got on that ball. So that's really what on ball is to me. But off ball, you just gotta be the energy receivers behind everything and communicating because the person on ball can't see a lot of things. They just know for us at state or just what we coached at Auburn was ball pressure. You gotta have ball pressure to the point where they can't see nothing. And if it is open, they can't do anything about it because you're pressuring them so hard. And the four people behind you are talking and communicating. If it's a ball screen or something, they're letting you know. So it's just gotta be energy givers and energy receivers pretty much with that on ball, off ball.
I like that. Energy givers and energy receivers.
Mhm. 'Cause there's times where I remember that somebody's on ball pressure couldn't be the best and the people behind, we're not really having the best energy possible. I remember one game specifically in Mizzou at home at state. I was on the ball and I don't know why I was on it so hard, but I think it was Vanderbilt, may have been Vanderbilt. She was going back and forth. She was going sideways, sideways. And then we watched on film, everybody behind she don't have nobody to pass the ball to. So it was just like, dang, the energy on the ball is doing something for the four people behind. So they see that she having trouble and they're like, well, she ain't finna get it back here. So it was
Yeah,
just like, we got your back behind us just in case she does need to throw anything. We got you on the steal. So it's just energy. The person on ball has to start it for sure.
I like that, man. Because I think that's a key piece of where we can communicate that to kids, tell them
Mhm.
understand the importance of it. Because you like we're saying, get on the ball, you need to apply pressure X, Y, and Z. But when you see situations like that, where it's like, oh, because she has to sit here and pass the ball now because she's getting pressured up, but she can't because now your other four teammates behind you doing their thing. It's like, okay, this is why it's so important. This is why we have to bring that level of energy. We can't just go out there and say we're going to do it. You can't, half do it. You got to really commit to it. So when you do that, now you're giving out energy like you're saying. But if I'm on the back end, I'm receiving that. Oh snap, she really locking up. She really D'ing up here. So I can't let
Yeah,
her fall. I got to be a
right.
good teammate here and do my piece.
That's really what it is. We just thrived off that and a lot of people don't understand what ball pressure actually is. Like some people like, you gotta pressure the ball. People think like that's arm's length and the one thing I can't stand is someone doing this in your face. That ain't ball pressure, especially when you got somebody that's confident in what she doing, holding the ball. You
Hmm.
trying to blind her like this while she's dribbling, that ain't gonna stop anything. That is not ball pressure. Ball pressure is literally making somebody feel super uncomfortable to the point where they
Yeah,
feel like they got to get out of this situation. And I mean, you get people that love pressure. I love pressure. So pressure doesn't affect me because I know what I'm going to do with it because I've also been on the other side of it to give that pressure. So we had a big rule. It was just like attack pressure with pressure. So that's just how my mind works. If I'm at the point guard position, somebody trying to eat me up, I'm going to attack you with the same amount of pressure that you are attacking me with. So this and I used to be like, why are people teaching that? That is not pressure.
I think I had this idea of like I got it from football, so I can't think of like a better term for it. But I call it like prevent defense versus a blitz defense for on ball defenders. So blitz is like what you're saying, you're applying pressure. I'm on you, it's aggressive, it's intentional. But then I think prevent is more of like um kind of like a Kawhi Leonard. Like I'm big enough and I'm long enough to where I can kind of contain you in this area. And
Mhm.
so I'm not finna press you, but if you come to me, you're not gonna go too far. Like I'm
Right.
kind of zoning you up and walling you up in this area. And so it sounds like you've been pretty much blitzed from all your career.
Yeah, it's blitz for me if it's easier for
Yeah.
me. Now there have been times where, scout report or something where we are giving arm's length of space, but they ain't saying pressure.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not saying pressure because pressure to them is what it sounds like. I'm finna pressure you to the point where you can't breathe. Like that's what pressure was to us. It was just like give her arms at the space, give her a little space. You don't have to pressure as much. Like that's just what it was. Because when somebody say pressure, then that means get up.
Hmm.
To me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where kind of going back to you saying about the IQ of the game.
Uh-huh.
Because if I'm guarding Steph versus Westbrook, I'm guarding a little bit differently. You know,
Right.
I got to pressure Steph. Like I have to be in him. I got to
You
be under
got
the
to.
jersey. I got to be
You
connected
got
to
to
him.
have heavy stamina. to guard that man because his energy, he's high energy off the ball is insane. So you're gonna be running around a lot.
Yep, yep. So I think that's the biggest piece that I feel like younger players don't understand. It's like, hey, you just can't guard how you want to guard out there. Like you ain't that
Mhm.
good. You have to
Nope.
adjust and adapt. Like you can't
You
guard
got
Steph Curry, Westbrook, Caitlin Clark, Sabrina, Juju all the same way because you're getting cooked by 5 of them at least, if not all of them.
yeah, and
So
that's where you study their tendencies for sure. And you find a way to how you gonna guard them because you can't guard everybody the same.
yeah. So how did you kind of learn to adjust and adapt to the different people you were going against? Because I know you want to be blitzed. That's kind of like your nature, I guess you could say. But how did you kind of adapt depending on what was going on around you?
I wanted to adapt when we played Florida in the SEC tournament my junior year. We ended up losing. I was guarding, I think her name was Jatira Butler. No, I can't remember her name. She played at Florida. Super athletic, super bouncy, and was kind of quick. And how I'm taught to guard is to pressure and do all those things. But I was getting cooked. I was getting beat back door. It was a lot. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't really guard her. She was very hard to guard. Somebody asked me that question not too long ago, "Who's the hardest guard you ever to guard?" Her. She was super bouncy, and that's when I learned to, like, try to adapt a little bit without getting in trouble with my
Mm-hmm.
coach because she was cooking me. She was, and all that pressure and stuff was not working. Like, it just was not working for me, and I had to, like, not pressure her as much, give her a little space and try to defend her that way, and that helped me.
Mm. Was she a bigger guard?
Yes, it has me listed as 5'9", but I'm 5'7". I think she was more like 5'9". She's about 5'9", 5'10", maybe.
Mm. So with you being a smaller guard, how did you kind of match up versus like somebody who's a small guard like you versus a bigger guard? How did you kind of start to separate how you thought about locking them up?
I didn't really change much because sometimes I would be out there guarding the smallest person super fast, but then I would also be guarding Tanner from Auburn, Tracy Tanner's sister. Like, she was taller than me, and I'm there, but I jump, I'm her height. But when she jumps, she's taller than me, of course. So she's shooting over me. I would be there to get her, but when she would go to shoot the ball, because she would have no choice but to shoot the ball, when I would like take away a drive from her, she would just shoot right over my head. And that was her game. So I couldn't really change how I guarded people, especially if they were taller than me. I just all guarded them the same because I couldn't do nothing about the length.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to
Yeah.
figure it out, challenge every shot I could.
No, I think I think that's interesting because a lot of times you'll hear how I forgot who it was, but they were saying they kind of had like a different package in their mind of how they defended different players. So it's like, all right, if I know I'm guarding Kyrie, I can't let him get in his bag and start dribbling too much. I
Oh,
can't
no,
like
you can't
I'm
do
getting cooked.
that.
But then
That's his specialty.
if I'm guarding Ja, I'm gonna break off a little. I want him to be Kyrie in this sense. I want him to try to dribble and do too much. If he going downhill,
It's a wrap.
I'm done. So for you to be able to say I pretty much guard the same way for the most part, you know what I'm saying? I think it's kind of special, man.
Yeah, I really didn't have a choice based on like our game plans and stuff. Like, it was still to, still stick to what we do defensively. But height wise, I just couldn't do anything. And I even said that in the huddle. I told Coach Shaper, he was like, "Come on, Vanna." And I said, "Coach, she taller than me. Like, this girl's 6'1". And when she
Yeah.
jumped, she's 6'5". So I told him that in the huddle. He may not remember that, but I mean, I was there defensively. I just I was a little short. That was it.
So if you were going against post, like you switched off or screens, whatever, and you're going against a post player, what was your thought process? Or what would Vic kind of coach you guys to do in that instance?
Oh, circle the tree. Don't let them get it. Be as physical as they ask the post players to be. You had the same uh post principles, just like the actual post players did. Like there was no switch up with that. If they're trying to front you, you are to sit on their leg, bag them up, jump in the air, push them out. As soon as that ball gets to a place where you could possibly touch it, try to do so. Um, you just had to have a little bit more aggression because you were little, but those same principles that was with the post players defensively, that also pertained to us. There was no switching that up.
Mm. Yeah, you went against the young pup of Asia Wilson. That was your last year, right?
Yes. I think she
Mm.
was a freshman.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
What was it like seeing her at that point?
At that time, I was starstruck by all of them because they had Alicia Welch, they had
Mm.
everybody. So I was like, it's South Carolina. At that time, like, it wasn't the South Carolina that we know now, but they were
Yeah.
still South Carolina and they were pretty good in our conference. And I was just really like, wow, we're playing everybody. Elena Coates. I mean, I got my shot blocked 3 times. I think in one possession, 3 or 4 of us got our shot blocked in one possession. So, um, it wasn't different or anything like that. It was just exciting to be out there because we're playing South Carolina at this time, and at that time, to me, and I know people might have a different opinion, but to me, they were all stars to me at that time. Especially, I think my favorite on that team at that time was Alicia Welch. Like she was
Mm.
just their she was their hidden weapon. She was just really, really good to me, and I just liked how loose she was out there playing.
Yeah. I think that was a really great matchup because I don't think y'all the same right now. Well, they're not the same, but y'all are like contending for SEC championships, and then was it a year or two after that y'all got to the Final Four and stuff. So it's like, okay, at the time, like you said, South Carolina was still South Carolina, but y'all were not too far behind, if not right there with them. So for y'all to be right there contending against them, it's like for you to be starstruck. It's kind of funny, but when you look back at those rosters, they had some WNBA players on there. Like a couple of those years, they were rolling out
They
talent too.
did. I think people forget, Tiffany Mitchell is still in the league and things like that. And, Khadijah is over there coaching as well. But I think that team right there, when Asia came in as a freshman, that was probably my favorite team of them. They were really, really good. And like I said, my fave on that team was Welch. She was just super athletic, super bouncy, just super loose, and you could just tell she just enjoyed being out there, and she was somewhat of a leader as well.
Mm. Mm. All right, so I need you to help me with this one, okay?
Alright.
I want you to give me like a mini blueprint of how I can defend these type of people. Okay. So if we got a shooter, a sniper on the court, how are you trying to defend them and guard them?
Pressure. You turn a shooter into a dribbler. You don't give him no space to shoot it at all. Kinda like Mizzou at that time. Oh, what's her name? I think her name was like Morgan or something. She was like the number 1 3-point shooter in the country. Um, I had to chase her everywhere. I'm busting through elevator screens. You When it comes to straight up snipers, you gotta be on their tail while also still, you know, following your defensive principles and the game plan. But with shooters like that just shoot crazy like that, you gotta turn them into dribblers and passers.
So now if we got a bucket getter, like she can shoot middies, finish, she's just a straight up bucket. How
Mhm.
you guarding her?
You gotta play up for everything. In a
Mm.
mid-range, I think people have lost the art of a mid-range. A pull-up, is very hard to guard because it's just so lethal. And I always say there's a big difference between a pull up and a jumper. You know, to me, a jumper is you coming up, you land on 2 feet, you jump off 2 feet, you're gonna shoot it. But a pull up is you dribbling, and out of nowhere, you just pull that thing up out of nowhere. You just gotta play them for everything. I wouldn't say pressure them as much. Give them a little bit of space, but the closer they get inside, you're gonna have to up your pressure a little bit.
Hmm. So what if you're guarding kind of like the opposite of that? Like they're more of the facilitator, like the old school traditional PG. They
Mhm.
set up the offense. How are you kind of guarding them?
It really depends. Because you see in the past, like I didn't get to play with Jasmine Holmes, but they didn't play. They didn't play her all because she was just the facilitator. They just sat underneath the free throw line, and then like if the shot clock was going down and she had the ball and she didn't have the option to pass it to anybody else because they were heavily guarded, she would come in and shoot that jumper. Marshawn Bostic was the same way for us at Auburn. So it really kind of depends on what you're trying to get. Um, because to me, for somebody who has like Jasmine Holmes, who was leading the nation in assist to turnover ratio. I mean, there was games where she didn't have one turnover, but would have like 8, 9 assists. I think that's where you got to look at the scout and be like, okay, we're letting her sit out here too long. You probably should guard. Although she's
Yeah.
not looking to shoot or score, but you probably should guard it to turn those assists into turnovers a little bit. And that's just how I see it. And I understand why people do that because they're really focused on everybody else. But to me, if you got a facilitating point guard that averages 0 turnovers at this point, maybe point 0.6 turnovers, you probably should guard her.
Mm.
That's just how I believe.
All right. So
Although
let's
people
rewind the
win
clock.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's rewind the clock and say you back in Mississippi State and you got a matchup against Juju. What's going through your brain? Like, all right, I got to do this. I can't do this. What's your blueprint or your game plan to stop Juju?
Honestly, I'm just gonna pressure her and guard her for everything. Like she's gonna have to work for every shot that she gets. And if I get beat, I make sure not to get beat middle based on or whatever defensive principles we got at that time. So for us, while playing, it was no middle drive. So I'll make sure I don't get beat middle. And if I do get beat, it's gonna be baseline. And either I can beat her on the baseline if she's still driving and take an on ball charge. If she pulls up, I can challenge the shot, or I can just send her in to the big man. And that's pretty much it. But I would definitely pressure her and make her work for literally everything, seeing that she takes majority of the shots on that
Yeah.
team.
So what about an AZ Fudd? She's
A
mainly a
shooter.
shooter, but
Mm-hmm.
she can score a little bit too. So how you guarding her?
Same, turning her
Mm.
into a passer and a dribbler. That's literally it.
So what if Paige was still at UConn and you got that 1-2 punch?
See, that's where you got to figure that part out. You can pressure,
Yeah.
you can give space a little bit, but that's where you got to go deep in your bag and try to find all her tendencies and what she's going to do. But when you got great players like that, if they score over you, although you playing really good defense, it's just them 2 pats on the booty and going down the floor.
All right. This last one. What if you
Mhm,
guarding Olivia Miles?
mhm. You know, kind of same to Juju a little bit, pressure. But she passes the ball more.
Yeah.
She likes the no looks. She likes all of that. So, that's to be honest, those are the hardest people to guard. People that can handle pressure, people that can score, but they not really trying to score because they see something else. For a teammate, those are the hardest people to hardest people to guard. So you really got to rely on you and 4 people behind you to be where they
Yeah.
need to be. Especially like if you're gonna get beat or anything like that, you just don't know what she's gonna see. You don't, because she has a high IQ, and for me, I always tell point guards, you don't really need to focus on what your teammate is doing offensively. You really need to be paying attention to where the defense is at because you already know what your teammate's gonna do. So you really need to focus on the defense. That's how you can make really good passes and things like that. And that's how she plays to me. So she's probably the hardest one to guard that I really don't have an answer for.
Mm. So just that unpredictability of not knowing for sure. Like you know Juice gonna give you buckets, but you don't know how she gonna give you buckets. You know AZ gonna
Right.
shoot it, but it's kind of just how she gonna get it off. Versus Livy, it's like, man, I don't know if she finna score, she finna pass, she finna do this, finna that. That's what
She's
makes it so tough.
she's the hardest one, yeah.
Mm. That's kind of interesting because Paige isn't too far off from that. Like she's
Not at
probably
all.
who do you think is a better playmaker between her and Olivia?
Mm. I think scoring wise, Paige is a better playmaker. But creating for others, although they can do both, they're equal in that area. But I'm just seeing Olivia do it a lot more playmaking for her other teammates a lot of the times, because she had other people around her that could really, really score. Although Paige did as well, but Paige is that girl. Like,
Yeah,
you have to have her scoring. You have to. Olivia could get away with not scoring, but she could have 22 assists and they'll still win the game.
yeah, yeah,
People might say otherwise, but I don't know. That's just how I see it. But they're equally talented. I just look at them in two different lights. I think Paige is more of a scoring playmaker, whereas Olivia can make a play for somebody else and it's equally as good.
yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah. I think it's just tough, man.
It is tough.
Cause
It's hard to answer because they both just do them both so well.
yeah,
But if I had to go one way or the other, that's how I would do it. Although that's very hard.
I think it's kind of like the roster built around them makes it a big difference too.
Sure does.
Because Paige had games where it's like not her scoring best, but because you
Hmm.
got AZ on this side and you got Sarah on the other side, it's like,
Yeah, because Sarah could go off for 22 and Paige would probably have 8 and they still win the
yeah,
game. So, but she'll probably have 11 assists. You never know. So, you're right about the roster. It really is about the people you're out there playing with, too.
yeah. Either way, it's a tough matchup because both of them
Very
can cook
tough.
you. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so let's go culture mode now. All right. When you see girls who are frustrated because they're getting benched because of the defense, and they don't understand they're not getting like, why am I getting benched? I'm trying to play, or I'm thinking I'm playing good defense, but I'm not playing good defense. What is it that they're doing that they're not catching and realizing?
They probably aren't fully understanding how bad their defense is. So that's real. Like some people really don't know how bad their defense is. Or they do know and they're not doing anything about it. And people are like, well, how do I get better defensively? I'm gonna always say it. There's one kid, and I just talked to her not too long ago. She plays at West Virginia now, Sydney Shaw. Um, she didn't come in to Auburn as our best defender. She actually was poo. She wasn't the best at all. She wasn't the fastest on the team or anything. But that one thing that kid was going to do was try to get better at everything that she was not good at. She was a bit of a perfectionist, and she wanted to be on the floor. So the one thing she would do is she would grab my hand after practice sometimes. She was like, come on, let's do defense. So I grab Gustavo, one of our practice players, and we do this drill called war. And he would be on offense, she would be on defense. And his thing is there's 3 points that he has to get to. It was called Bulldog. Um, he would start at the baseline. He had to get to the free throw line. Then you got to go back. Then when you get to the baseline, you get to like that little volleyball line area, and then you go back. Then once you get back to the baseline, you do it again. You get all the way to half court, and then you come back with it. And there's cones is spread apart in their lane line extended pretty much, and he has to stay inside those cones the entire time, and she's just guarding him one on one. And she would do that a lot, and then once they were done, she would play one on one every single day after practice, and that's just how she got better defensively. So, there's little things you can do like that to help yourself get better, and not only does it help you get better defensively, on the court, but it also helps with your confidence when you are guarding out there because that girl went from not being able to guard a soul to guarding every soul that was in front of her. She was actually one of our best elite defenders, off ball and on ball. And she knew her angles. That was the other thing. A lot of kids think that because they're slow, they can't guard. Now she wasn't slow or anything like that. She just wasn't as fast as some of the people that she was guarding. But she knew her angles. And that's that was key a lot of the time. Blair Schaefer, same way. She knew her angles. That's why she pretty much led the country in charges a lot of the time. She knew her angles and how to guard people that were faster than her. And that's just how I saw people getting better at it. And those were little things that they did to figure things out defensively. So sitting on the bench sulking about it, you got to be able to do something about it. And this may be weird to say, but they didn't. I can't speak for Blair, but I can speak for Sydney. She didn't watch a lot of film defensively. Like we didn't watch a lot of film defensively. She actively got on the court. It was just like, I gotta get better.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things you can do.
Mm. Do you think film uh makes that big of a difference? Or is it more so just like you said, kind of get on the court and doing the work like that?
I think it does. Once you see yourself doing something, because sometimes, like for me, you're in the heat of the moment, you don't think you did any of that. That's why them iPads on the bench are coming in handy because you got kids coming like, I was there. Give me the iPad. And then you show that they wasn't. So I think it's a key factor in seeing yourself do things that you probably didn't know that you were doing in the heat of the moment. You're probably still on the bench, although you saw it on the iPad, you still like, no, I was there. So I do think film does play a key factor in a lot of those things. However, there are people that don't watch film and don't really benefit from it. They are the ones that like to just get out there and actively do it and ask questions out there because that's just how they learn.
Mm. What do you realize that like the differences are in those people? Like the ones who do better watching film and the ones who do better with the on-court stuff.
It's kind of like therapy to me.
Mm.
So I know some people that will watch film and that's just how they learn, but they won't take anything from it. But then when you put them out there and show them, sometimes they'll get it, sometimes they won't. I think it's just really a mindset thing. Cause some people legit will just sit in there and watch film and be like, okay, I got it. Like they just have this photographic memory of how they need to be. So when they do get out there and you hadn't ran any reps for showing them how to do something physically, they just remember seeing on film where they need to be and they'll fix it. But then some people, they could care less about film. And I've seen many kids like that. They'll just be sitting there and they'll see everything and they're like, okay. Then they'll go down there and no. But if you take them out there physically and not even watch the film and you'll be like, hey, in the game, you was right here. But when she came and did this, they pick up on it a little bit more. But it's like therapy, honestly. However you choose to learn or however you better learn, it's just all about how you gonna put it back out there. I've s It's very hard to answer because I've seen it where it's just like, "Dang, I done showed you on film, I done walked you through this, you just don't care." That's really what it is. It ain't even about you learning at this point. It's I really don't even know, to be honest with you.
Mm. Do you think the having iPads on the sideline is one of the biggest changes in terms of coaching defense?
Think so. I will say we didn't use them as much, but then when we started using them, we were like, this is coming in handy." I think they do. I think teams that do utilize it a lot compared to what we did in the past, could help a lot. I really think it does. You being able to pull up that iPad and show teams like, "Hey, look at this. If this happens again, like we can cover it this way," and things like that. So I think it's a big benefit to the sidelines for sure.
Mhm. What else have you noticed that has changed, whether it's with coaching or scheming? What else has changed in your eyes of like in terms of defense?
Not much has really changed. I'm noticing that a lot of people aren't as a you know what, there has been some changes. I'm noticing that there's very few teams that come out there and have that pressure defense. When I was playing, I just felt like that's all we saw. Like all we saw was people that just they probably didn't pressure the way we did, but you saw it a lot. You saw a lot of pressing, you saw that. I just feel like a lot of people aren't pressing stuff now. And scheme wise, coaching, I started seeing like people play off as far as they play off. You got a kid up there dribbling, and the person guarding her is underneath the goal. I had never seen that before. I'm like, wow, this is a different type of play. This really is like that LSU game. Like, I'm like, dang, Galen Clark is really not guarding Reagan Johnson. I'm like, this is really a scheme. And I had seen it against our point guard at the time. So I'm like, I never ever thought to just not guard anybody. Like, don't guard her. And if I
Yeah,
did, it was like if they were at the 3-point line, you were underneath the free throw line, maybe. But to be under the hoop was different. I'm like, dude, what? This is crazy.
yeah,
I've seen when I got to college or when I started coaching recently, I didn't know these people still did them, but boxing ones and triangles and twos, like, I think it's so cool that people still do those types of things. So when I saw that get played against us one time, and it wasn't that they were just doing one thing, they were doing a lot of different things. They were triangling two and at one point, they were boxing one at one point. And I'm like, how do you even prepare for this type of stuff? Like, how did that even
yeah.
cross your mind to just in the middle of the game, hey, we're gonna box in one? So like I see what other people are doing. I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's just my exposure to it more or if it's happening more, but I think more coaches have that type of like we gonna junk you up type of defense where you don't know if we're
Hmm.
playing boxing one, triangle and two, man, 2-3 zone, 3-2 zone, 1-3-1. And then if we in it, you don't know if we're gonna be pressuring you or it's kind of laid back. Like
Right.
they throwing anything and everything they can at you, and it just looks so different. So I don't know if it's
Yeah.
just me being aware of it more, of more coaches are doing it, but that's one thing I noticed. It's like, bro, what are y'all doing out here? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like to throw so many different defensive sets in one game. I'm like, that's what's up. Like, you don't really see that until you get to the pros, but to see it at the college level that people are doing that, I'm like, that is awesome. I like that.
I think we started seeing the pros like the past 4 or 5 years, maybe. I think the Heat were one of the first things I can remember doing it because they would be like, you don't see 2-3 zone, you don't see zone period in the NBA.
Right.
And it had like this
I was
real
watching it.
awkward 2-3 being extended out too. It's like, what are they doing?
Yes. I saw that not too long ago. I can't remember who I was watching NBA, and I was like, they're in a zone. That is so cool. Like they're in the NBA playing a zone. So it's just nice to see, defense is still defense and it's still being taught. And there's different ways to do things. And I love that people, get in their bag. And it could be the most simple thing like going to a 2-3 out of nowhere. Like they went 2-3. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah. But I think on the other end, you start looking at high school, middle school and stuff. The defense has definitely changed on that end because it gets to a point where they're
Oh,
not playing defense. And it's like, bro,
it
what is
I
going
hate
on?
it. We've lost the art of teaching sometimes, it's all about training now at that level. Who's your trainer? Who's your trainer? But we don't have that teaching factor anymore, and that's when we start losing the art of certain things, and that's why some of these kids get to struggling when they get to college because they're just so used to the offense and the training and all those things, and then they can't play a lick of defense. They don't even understand the concepts sometimes, and you're like, "Dang, I have to explain that?"
Yeah. Have you
So,
noticed that more and more as you've coached of like girls not understanding things?
yes, you have to define a lot of things because a lot of these kids sometimes don't know. And that's not their fault or anything like that. And it is your job to teach them regardless of, where they came from before. But I have noticed that you do have to reach deep in your definition book to define some of the old school things. It's like, whoa, I have to tell you this. I have to
Yeah.
explain this, which I don't mind because I do love it. But when you got
Yeah.
to teach it 18,000 times in one day, that's where it gets a little like, okay, now hold on, what you got going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in a situation where, you know, coaching some young girls and it's like, 'cause I'm used to working with high school that's kind of got stuff, they kind of figured no stuff out. I don't have to go to one-on-one level with certain stuff,
Hmm.
training college girls. And I'm like, okay, cool. My mind, I'm used to being at a certain level of stuff.
Right.
Man, these girls, when you think about beginner, that's kind of where I'm at with coaching. And it's like, I have to keep
Hmm.
reminding myself, if they don't know it, it's your fault.
Right.
I try not to assume anything. And I'll be like, for real, like I'm at a point where it's like, you're passing the ball and they start running with it. And it's like, bruh, relax, dribble. Like we're not
Right.
playing
That dribble.
football. I'm at that level with it. So on one hand, I get frustrated because I'm like, once again, I'm training college girls. I'm used to
Hmm.
more advanced things, but then I have to really pull it back and be like, hey, this is how you do a layup. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. And I really like, I'm a big teacher, so it doesn't bother me as much. But when you have to keep going back to the one-on-one stuff, this is a dribble. This is a double dribble. This is a travel. This is this. This is that.
Right.
Like you said, you repeat yourself 100 times and it gets to a point where it's like, man, why am I doing this, bro? Like, are y'all listening?
Yeah, that patience level is, I shout out all coaches because I know their patience level has grown because you got to have an incredible amount of patience these days
Yeah.
to like, especially like if you want them to get it, you have to whew, get yourself together and get it and make sure they know the information. Mm.
It's tough, man. So it's if I know I'm dealing with this at my level, I don't even want to think about what certain middle schoolers and certain high schoolers are dealing with. And like, cause in my brain, I'm used to it because I'm thinking you're this young. All right, cool. I know what I'm dealing with. But if you're in high school having to rewind and be like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why am I teaching you rec ball stuff as a 10th grader? So, and for you being in college, you're like, hold on, man, like, time out. Do you not know what a pick is? Like, it's like certain stuff. It's just like, bro, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's different. And like I said, it's never really their fault because a lot of these kids sometimes are coming in not being students of the game. They just being hoopers and watching people that they admire, not knowing that there's a deeper level to learning this. Like you can't just be what you see out there. You actually have to learn to become what you see out there. And it's way deeper than that. And just trying to get them to understand that part because it is a battle. Because, sometimes these kids think they know better than you, which is cool, and you probably do. But, um, yeah, we just gotta have that patience, and you gotta be able to communicate effectively even when times are being tried.
Oh, man. Like you said, prayers to all the coaches
Prayers to our
because
coaches.
it's a
That
lot,
level
man.
that level of patience, I know everybody has a lot more than every year. Every year, the patience gets bigger and bigger for a lot of coaches. I hope it is because it can be tough.
If you could give advice to AAU teams, high school teams, whatever, it's like, hey, start doing this with the girls because you're hurting them from getting to college. What's the thing that you would say? Be like, hey, make sure you adding this in, make sure you're teaching them this or explaining that to them, whatever it is, to help them be better prepared for. college, especially girls who have an opportunity to go? Like, what's the thing you would tell them?
Start teaching them. Like, really go into depth with how you're teaching them with everything that you do, because a lot of the times we're having to teach them how to simply box out, and, like, that's something you learn in grade school, but really just being intentional with your teaching, and being super realistic with them. A lot of these kids coming in with dreams, not knowing that that's not the reality. Get a lot of coaches that's just shooting a lot of stuff to them and not being real with them. And it kind of hurts them when they do get to college. People think they're better than what they really are. And granted, you probably are, but you just haven't reached that potential yet because somebody is blowing smoke to you or whatever the case may be. But honestly, just teaching them in depth and being effective with it. That's like my biggest thing because I'm always shocked at what kids don't know. They know everybody. They know these Angel Reeses and stuff like that. Like they know them, but they just don't know everything that an Angel Reese has had to teach herself or have had to learn from a coach and somebody being real with her. So because those are the people that they look up to and they think they just come in and can be that person and you can be. But coaches have got to teach. That's like the biggest thing. Please be a teacher.
Mm. We just say the same thing for trainers of like, it's cool to have all the skills and all the drills and stuff, but make sure you teaching too.
Yes. Anybody that is going to coach somebody to be better, you should also be teaching them. No matter what they're doing, you should always be a teacher because you're being placed to be over them for a reason. They chose you or whatever the case may be. They paying you to make them better, however it is. The least you can do for this kid is not lead them in the wrong direction, regardless of your status. Like you should, if you're in charge of them and you want them to be better, teach them. Just teach them, educate them in everything that they're doing under you.
Mm. So, young Savannah, young pup, like baby Savannah, like 7 years old, man. If you could go back and talk to her, you're like, hey, listen, you need to learn this thing right here. What would you tell her?
At that time, I would tell her to be loose, like really be loose, because I wasn't as loose as I thought I was, like having fun and all those things, but be loose, but still have a little bit of discipline. I wasn't as disciplined as I was now. And this is so weird to say because I still play basketball, but if it was all about basketball at that time, the things that I've learned now and the player that I am now, um, I would tell her this is how it's gonna be. So I probably would have been a way better player than I was back then if I just had the discipline and the experiences that I went through. So I would look back and tell him, man, enjoy everything. Enjoy everything. Don't fight nothing. Just be loose and have fun and do everything with grace. Because there was
Explain
time
the last part. Do everything with grace.
I didn't give myself grace a lot of the times. My senior year was my first surgery ever in my life. And I didn't know I was depressed or anything like that. I had no clue. But my coaches did. They were heavily concerned for me to the point where my mom knocked on my apartment door all the way from Oklahoma. I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "Coach Schaefer, told me to come down here." And I was like, "What?" So I would like beat myself up about a lot of things that I probably could have done better. So I just didn't allow myself to have any grace. So I would look back and tell myself to give grace to myself in every situation.
Mm. You talking to me right there, man. That's crazy. Nah, so last piece of advice. Um, this girl needs to get better tomorrow. Like start doing this tomorrow with her defense. What are you telling her? Like, hey, you can't guard nothing right now. Like nobody at all. Start doing this thing tonight, tomorrow, whatever, and you'll start seeing more growth in your game as far as defense goes. What would you tell her?
Oh, you need to wake up and not give a F. Seriously. Like, if we
Yeah.
gonna wake up and think about defense, you can't care. I mean, I ain't gonna say you can't care because I have this new thing now. I don't know where I got this from, but it's not that I don't care. It's just that I don't give a F. Like,
Mm,
and there's a big difference. And people ask, like, what's the difference? I can care about something. Like, I could love and care about something, but there's certain situations within that something that I care about that I just cannot give a F about. That's just as simple as, and that's how defense is. I care about defense, but I can't care about the person that I'm having to guard. I can only care about me and my teammates and how I can be confident guarding this person. I can't care. I mean, I can't give a F about what she got going on or anything like that. That's the first thing I would tell somebody. You gotta wake up. I don't give a F about it. Just go out there and do it while
mm.
caring.
It was good, man. I like this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you feel like we should talk about, tap into, that you wish I asked you?
No, you probably asked some really, really good questions. Made me think over here. My brain got spinning. Those some good questions.
Well, no, I appreciate you, man. This was good. I really enjoyed it.
Same. I'm gonna have to do this more often. You're my first podcaster because there's people that will write and be like, "You want to do a podcast?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, no. What do you want to talk to me about?" Like,
yeah,
but I'm happy I agreed to do this. This was awesome and cool. I appreciate you asking me to do this.
that's kind of surprising because you're pretty easy to talk to. Like I can see you doing more podcasts, though.
This is my major.
That makes sense.
Communications is my major. I was really gonna go into public relations and marketing, and then I started doing a little bit of broadcast and stuff. But I don't like to be on TV or anything. I don't like attention at all. Like, that was another reason why I would be like, I
Hmm.
just don't like attention. I hate it. I don't know what it is. And people be like, "You're a Leo. You love attention. You crave attention." No, I don't. I don't get into the zodiac signs and all that stuff. But when people be like, "You're a Leo," babe, I don't care about attention. I don't care. So this brought me out of my comfort zone. I'm grateful for that. This was fun.
Well, I appreciate you letting me be the first one. Um,
Thank you. This is going down in the history books for me. I'll never
hey,
forget it.
man, yeah, this was dope. Tell the people come support you guys, man. Um, at Tulsa,
Well,
doing your thing.
please, we have a rivalry game tonight. I know majority of my family's gonna be out there. I don't know when you're publishing this, but if you can make it tonight at 7 p.m. at ORU or Roberts University at the Mabee Center, please come out and support the kids. They need it. We're playing away pretty much, and they're gonna need everybody in the seats. But we'll be in the Bahamas. We'll be at Creighton. We'll be everywhere. So just come out and support us.
Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, hi, Katera. That's it.
Well, all right. I appreciate you coming on, talking with me.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate everybody that's watching and listening. Make sure you subscribe. Without further ado, we're out of here. See you next one.
Peace, y'all.
Mm.